Russian drones have just crossed Romania's border. In broad daylight, the deepest incursion ever recorded into Western Alliance territory. Romanian F-16s and German Eurofighters scrambled in panic. The alert sounded across the country. Seek shelter. Europe woke up in fear. It's no longer a theory. It's no longer a military movement. It's Russia testing the limits of the world's most powerful alliance. And the Western Alliance did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just watch the drones vanish into the horizon. Meanwhile, in Geneva, American and Ukrainian negotiators finalize a peace deal. 28 points, minor details pending. The war could end in days, but something feels off. Something's wrong with this whole story. Because just as Trump announces progress in negotiations, Russia launches the largest drone offensive of the war. 249 drones downed in a single night. Simultaneous strikes in 12 regions. All of Europe on maximum alert. Coincidence? Hard to believe. Here's a question no one wants to ask, but you must answer now, without fear of censorship. If Russia truly wants peace, why is it attacking Western Alliance members and destroying critical Ukrainian infrastructure exactly when negotiations are moving forward? Think carefully. Reply in the comments. Here you can speak the truth.
But as I said many times before, we are ready for peaceful talks. We are ready to resolve the issues in a peaceful manner. This, however, requires detailed discussion of all the...
Let's go back to the beginning. Donald Trump is back in the White House. He promised to end the war in 24 hours. It didn't work. But now, nearly 3 years into the conflict, he has a plan, a 28-point plan. The man chosen to carry out this plan isn't a diplomat. He's Dan Driscoll, Trump's drone guy, Secretary of the Army, expert in unmanned warfare, a close ally of Vice President J.D. Vance, a man who understands lethal technology. Driscoll traveled to Kyiv unannounced, then to Abu Dhabi, secret meetings with Russian delegations, talks absent from traditional media, moves that suggest something far bigger than a simple ceasefire negotiation. The White House confirmed Ukraine and Russia are taking part in the talks. Zelensky said he's ready to move forward with the peace plan. But there's a detail that changes everything. Zelensky publicly stated, the war only ends with the return of Crimea. No deal without the peninsula. No peace without full sovereignty. And that's the problem. Because Russia will never give Crimea back. Never. So what's really happening in these negotiations? While diplomats talk peace, Russia is escalating the war in a way no one expected. Not with tanks, not with soldiers, but with technology. Technology that is changing the battlefield forever. Russia has started adding Chinese jet engines to its glide bombs, the so-called CABs. Bombs that used to glide for 40 kilometers now reach 200 kilometers of range. With surgical precision, these bombs are made from Soviet scrap, dumb bombs from the 70s. But now, with planning kits and Chinese turbojet engines, they've become weapons of terror. Weapons Ukraine cannot intercept. Production of the Su-34 fighter, the main launch platform for these bombs, has more than doubled. Over 50 units per year. Russia is investing heavily. This isn't a tactic. This is long-term strategy. And here's the part no one mentions. China is supplying the engines. Officially, Beijing denies military involvement. But the engines are there, in the bombs, falling on Ukrainian cities, killing civilians, and the West pretends not to see. Before we get into the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Your subscription means a lot and helps you stay updated on every story about the raging nations. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to help this project grow even more. These engine-powered glide bombs have already violated Western Alliance airspace. Fragments were found in Romanian territory. Russia is testing how far it can go, and the Western Alliance keeps just watching. But the real threat doesn't come just from the sky. It comes from something much more silent, far more lethal, something that's destroying Western Alliance armored vehicles like toys. FPV drones, first-person view drones, controlled by fiber optic cables, undetectable, unjammable, with up to 50 kilometers range, and Russia is producing millions of them. In recent weeks, Russian forces have destroyed around 50 Western Alliance armored vehicles. Max Pro, Striker, Humvee, all supplied by the West, all destroyed by drones costing less than $1,000 each. Russia has created a new military force, the Unmanned Systems Forces, USF, a full division dedicated exclusively to drone warfare, mass production, constant innovation, total battlefield dominance. Specialized units like the Rubicon Center are disrupting Ukrainian supply lines. Coordinated attacks, millimetric precision, and the scariest part, they are learning, evolving, adapting to each Ukrainian countermeasure. Fiber optic drones are the perfect weapon. They emit no radio signal, cannot be jammed by electronic warfare. The operator sees everything in real time through the cable. And once the drone hits the target, it's impossible to trace where it came from. Ukraine is losing the drone war, losing badly. And this is shifting the balance of power on the battlefield. But there is a response that came from the sky. Jets provided by Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, and Belgium, 85 units in total, and they are changing the rules of the game. In a historic incident, a Ukrainian F-16 shot down a Russian Su-35, one of Russia's most advanced fighter jets, taken down by a Western jet flown by a Ukrainian pilot, using ambush tactics and guidance from a Swedish early warning aircraft. That shootdown was a shock for Moscow. The Su-35 is superior on paper, faster, more agile, more armed. But the F-16 had something the Russian didn't: information, situational awareness, and a pilot trained by NATO. Since entering service, Ukrainian F-16s have already intercepted over 1,300 Russian aerial threats. Cruise missiles, Shahed drones, glide bombs. The success rate is impressive. But this is just the beginning. Ukraine may receive 150 Gripen fighters from Sweden, state-of-the-art jets, designed to operate in hostile environments, with takeoff and landing ability on highways. And now comes the big move, the move that could change everything. France has just promised Ukraine up to 100 Rafale F-4 fighters. 100 by 2035. The Rafale is a fully capable war machine, able to conduct air-to-air, air-to-ground, and reconnaissance missions, equipped with the Meteor missile. Range over 150 kilometers, supersonic speed, able to neutralize Russian fighters operating at a distance. Alongside the Rafales, France is providing 8 next-generation SAM-T air defense systems, 360-degree protection, capable of intercepting ballistic missiles, protection against everything Russia can launch. But here's the part nobody is talking about, the part that completely changes the narrative. Who's going to pay for all this? Who will fund 100 Rafale jets and 8 SAM-T systems? The answer is simple and ironic. Putin. Vladimir Putin is going to pay for the weapons that will destroy him. How? Through the profits from frozen Russian assets in Europe? $300 billion in Russian assets are frozen in European banks. The profits from these assets are being used to fund Ukrainian defense. Russia is literally paying for its own defeat. And France isn't doing this out of altruism. It's doing it for strategic autonomy. Europe is getting ready to defend its borders, with or without the United States, with or without NATO. Emmanuel Macron was clear. If a peace agreement is signed and Ukraine is forced to cede territory, France will send troops to Odessa, French troops, on Ukrainian soil, to guarantee post-war security. The United Kingdom agreed. British and French soldiers will be present when peace is signed to conduct training and security operations. A multinational guarantee force. This is a paradigm shift. Europe is no longer waiting for American leadership. It is taking the reins. It is preparing for the worst. And the worst may be closer than we imagine. German intelligence services have issued a warning. Russia may be ready to attack a NATO member country by 2029. 4 years, just 4 years. German Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul was direct. The threat to our country from Russia is no longer a distant concern. It is already a reality. He accused Moscow of using hybrid warfare tactics. Germany is building the strongest army in Europe. Massive military reforms, large-scale recruitment, preparation for a conflict that could be much faster than the war in Ukraine. Because a conflict between Russia and NATO would not be a war of attrition. It would be a blitz war. Fast, brutal, technological, and potentially nuclear. Poland is demanding that NATO accelerate the defense of its eastern flank. Anti-drone systems, reinforced air defense, permanent troops. Polish Defense Minister Kosiniak-Kamysz made it clear, there's no more time to lose. But while Europe prepares for war, something bizarre is happening in Russia. Something that exposes the vulnerability of the nuclear giant. Something that shows the Kremlin has lost control. On the night of November 25th, Ukraine launched a massive attack. More than 150 drones. Targets, Russian military bases, aviation factories, fuel depots, perfect coordination. Simultaneously, Ukrainian hackers broke into alert systems in the city of Krasnodar. They set off false nuclear attack alarms. Sirens sounded. Panic in the streets. People running for shelter. Total chaos. Russian air defense went into emergency mode. Missiles were fired in all directions. But in the middle of the chaos, something terrible happened. Russian air defense missiles hit civilian areas. Friendly fire. In Novorossiysk, Russian missiles destroyed residential buildings. In Taganrog, 3 civilians were killed, at least 10 injured. Russia was firing on its own citizens, trying to defend itself from Ukrainian drones. But the Ukrainian attack had a specific target, a target few know, a secret Soviet-era project, the A-60 airborne laser aircraft. Only 2 units were built, designed to blind satellites and advanced sensors, space warfare weapons, and Ukraine just destroyed one of them in flames at the Berry factory in Taganrog. The loss of the A-60 is devastating for Russia. It cannot be replaced. It cannot be rebuilt. It is lost Soviet technology. And Ukraine has shown that no Russian asset is safe. This attack exposed Russian military incompetence. It exposed the vulnerability of its defenses. It exposed the fear of the population. And it exposed something even more dangerous. Russia is losing internal control. Pro-Russian propagandists began to question Putin's strategy. Attacking Ukrainian civilians isn't working. It's only making the resistance stronger. And now, with Ukraine attacking deep into Russian territory, the Kremlin's narrative is collapsing. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Russian forces keep advancing. Near Hulyaypol, near Siversk, territory is being captured. Ukrainian forces are in a critical position. The war of attrition is working for Moscow. But at what cost? Russia is emptying its largest MTLB vehicle storage bases. Soviet equipment from the 60s. This is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of desperation. And here's the big question. If Russia is winning on the battlefield, why is it negotiating? Why accept a 28-point peace plan? Why send delegations to Abu Dhabi? The answer may lie in time. Russia needs time. Time to rebuild, time to rearm, time to prepare for the next conflict. Because the next conflict won't be in Ukraine, it will be in Europe. NATO knows this. That's why Romania is on high alert. That's why Germany is building the largest army in Europe. That's why France is sending Rafale fighters and promising troops. That's why Europe is fighting for bunkers. Because hybrid war has already started. Drones crossing borders, undersea cables cut, cyber attacks, disinformation, sabotage. Russia is testing, provoking, preparing the ground.
Украина против. Видимо, Украина и ее европейские союзники до сих пор находятся в иллюзиях и мечтают нанести России стратегическое поражение на поле боя. Думаю, в основе такой позиции лежит не столько низкий уровень компетенции, сейчас не буду обсуждать эту сторону дела, но, скорее всего, эта позиция связана с отсутствием объективной информации о положении, реальном положении дел на поле боя. И, судя по всему, ни на Украине, ни в Европе не понимают, к чему это в конце концов может привести. Только один самый свежий пример.
So I ask again, if Russia really wants peace, why is it attacking NATO members and destroying critical Ukrainian infrastructure exactly when negotiations advance? Think carefully. Answer in the comments. Because the answer to this question may determine Europe's future. and maybe the world's. Thanks so much for sticking around until the end of the video. You're awesome, and I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any updates on the raging nations. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to help this project grow even more.